Dr. Jessica Ash here. Today, I have the absolute honor to speak with Sophia Olivas about her smart cities that she's developing. It's very exciting, so stay tuned. So I'm so happy you're joining us today. It's very exciting that Sophia Olivas is with us today. And without further ado, welcome.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm so excited to be here.
I am really happy to have you. I'm really excited about your smart cities. But first, I'd like you to introduce yourself to my audience and tell us a little bit about your background.
Certainly. So, hi guys, my name is Sophia Olivas. I have been in the technology industry for over 30 years. I've owned a tech company for almost 30 years now, and I also co-own a hedge fund. It's a crypto hedge fund, and I was one of the first female women to own a crypto hedge fund. And right now, I am focused on building smart cities. So there are smart cities that are built out of shipping containers. They're commercial mixed-use properties that also have renewable energy. They use renewable energy, they have sustainable agriculture, and they're one of the first smart communities on the blockchain.
Well, that's very exciting. And I'm trying to mess around with our pictures because I'm going to put an overlay of your city. But when that happens, both of our faces will be covered. So don't be worried about that.
Okay.
But so I kind of think it's easier if people can see an image. So can you describe this image a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. So these are shipping containers. One building that you're looking at the front is like one entire home. So the ground floor are commercial storefronts. So you would have your office down below and you'd have a 30-second commute from up above. So there's no adjoining walls. We are set on 40 plus acres. We have over 300 homes. 200 are for sale, and the prices start at $130,000, and that includes your storefront.
That includes the business. Wow, that's that's cheaper than a lot of homes.
That's cheaper than an office for sure. Cheaper for an office space. Yeah. So our whole goal is to eliminate the barrier to entry for entrepreneurs and small businesses.
Okay, so before I go on to more details about your smart cities, we really have to take a minute for you to unpack the statement, oh, I also co-own a hedge fund. Like, I don't hear that every day, and I'm sure my listeners don't. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you came to co-own a hedge fund?
All right, well, we're going to have to go a little bit back for that one. So I grew up in a family where I witnessed my mother staying in an abusive marriage because she was not financially solvent. She wasn't allowed to have a job for a good portion of my childhood. And then when she was allowed to work, my father still controlled the bank accounts. So because of that, she had very limited choices in leaving that marriage. And I left home at 14, thinking that I could do better than how my father was raising me. And I left and did way better. And that included sleeping on the streets, being homeless, starving, having to figure out how to feed myself. And that was still way better than my childhood life at home. So as I got older, I began backpacking all over the world. I solo backpacked over 35 countries at this point. And I saw the same theme going on and on, where women are not financially solvent. Their choices are limited, and you start to see poverty. You start to see violence, an uptick in violence, and an uptick in mental health challenges. So at that point, I had an inflection point in my life where I got to meet the Dalai Lama. I was very privileged to meet the Dalai Lama, and I came away with that really seeing that there is no good, bad, right or wrong or evil. All there ever is is an opportunity for humanity to evolve. And when I took those two big, pivotal moments in my life and culminated them and put them together, I just realized that for myself, and I started reading all the white papers that there were, all the Harvard and all these documents that I could get a hold of on these two subjects. What I started to see was that if we looked at what the source of what causes human concerns, and like leverage is always working at the source. Like the medical field works after the cause, right? Like after the fact, which is why they can't cure anything, right? Because they're in business to medicate, right? And make people feel comfortable versus curing people, because that's done and over. So what I looked at is like, let's work at the source. Let's identify the source. And what I saw was it's women. When you work with women, they're the ones that have the children, and they're the future, because they have the kill. They're the ones that create the children, and then mostly they're the ones that shape the future, because they're the ones that take care of the children. So I found study after study that said that when women are financially solvent, they go to school, they get further in their education, they have kids later in life, they have fewer kids, they choose better domestic partners, and they take better care of their mental and physical health. So right there, you've just eliminated poverty, you've reduced violence, and you've bolstered mental health. And so
That's really amazing.
That's how I got to it. And then I just saw that I just became super passionate about women's financial sovereignty.
Right.
And when crypto came on the scene, I knew that was how women got an equal footing. There's no gender bias there. There's no glass ceiling. There's no unequal pay. It's all there for the takings. Women can use that. There's no social security numbers, no credit scores. I mean, it's absolute equal footing. And that's why I became so passionate and utilized and started my hedge fund. And then once I got my hedge fund rolling, then I knew I was okay to do my city.
And our listeners are a lot in developing nations. And sometimes they'll say to me, oh, I can't do that. I live in a developing nation. And I want to highlight the fact that you had no resources, that you were age 14 living on the street. And the only thing, not the only thing, but the main aspect that got you to where you are today is your mindset. No one gave you anything. You are not a child of wealth. You were not a child of privilege. You come from a very hard background, which many of our viewers do, and you found a way to succeed. And that's why I put in the banner opportunities for humanity to evolve. And that's from the Dalai Lama. You're really on the right channel today with Mindset News. And I want to also shout out and say that having watched one of your videos on cryptocurrency, I find your specific method of teaching to be really helpful, because I can read anything. I can digest any information I want to, but the way you present the material, and with simple statements like, many of you may feel overwhelmed when you hear the word cryptocurrency, and you hit the nail on the head. It's not that I can't learn it. I can learn pretty much anything. I've demonstrated that I can learn things, but I did have emotion about crypto that I no longer have because I watched your videos. So I hope you'll maybe you can type a public comment and put how people can find those, how they can find your courses to help them understand crypto better. And while you're doing that, you've told us a little bit about your smart cities, and I know that they are going to use the blockchain to be run. And can you tell us a little bit about how your smart cities are going to use cryptocurrency.
Yeah, so absolutely. And thanks so much so I'm putting a free gift for your listeners. And
Oh,
it's just the first free video is on what is crypto, just to just start from the basis. So you're asking a question, and I want to make sure that everybody has a critical foundation to be able to hear this answer. So there's blockchain, and then there's crypto. So you can have blockchain and not have crypto, but you can't have crypto without blockchain. So I'm going to give you a better example. If you're a PC user, let's say that um, you've got a Windows operating system, like Windows 10 is probably one that everybody has read about now. So Windows 10 would be like what blockchain is. It's your system. And then Microsoft Office is an application on your system. So that would
okay.
be like crypto. Crypto would be like Microsoft Office. So you can have Windows and not have Microsoft Office, but in order to have Microsoft Office, you have to have Windows. So it's kind of like that. It's like
Okay.
that.
All right. And then the other image I loved was like a train track. So if
Yes.
the blockchain is the train track, then the crypto different kinds are the different cars on the track.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes. I
So now
remember.
that we, yes, see, and I'm so glad. Thank you so much. So I work with analogies because I think they stick. And thanks for proving that. So based on that, we have blockchain and tokenization, which is when you utilize crypto in something. It's called tokenization. So our blockchain, it's just a ledger. So think about it as like your bank ledger that just shows all the different transactions, except for this ledger is public. Everybody can see it. So there's integrity to it. It's immutable. It cannot be changed or altered. It's unhackable, cannot be hacked. We don't have quantum computers yet. And even at that point, our security will grow as quantum computers grow, and it's unhackable. And it's just like, so it's transparent, immutable, and unhackable. Those are the three foundations of blockchain. So on the blockchain aspect of it, we're going to be pushing all of our information on a public block explorer for our renewable resources. So that's going to encourage and allow the public and other developers to build upon and improve our technologies. So they're going to get, so imagine if the medical field shared all their information on the blockchain. We would cure cancer like that. We would cure diabetes like that. All these things would get cured because everybody wouldn't be starting from scratch. And everybody would know who wrote who and who said what, because that's why medicals don't share, because they have to be published and get credit. Well, the blockchain solves all that, right? Because everybody knows what everybody's doing. And then you just get to grow. So we'll be hosting hackathons and every quarter. And just imagine like all of our smart cities, because while our first one is going to be in the Phoenix metro area, we're going to be nationwide and global right after that. So they're going to be like little miniature world's fairs. We're going to be showcasing the most powerful cutting edge technology in all of our cities. So that's blockchain. Our tokenization is a little bit different, but basically just imagine where you can use, here's a good one. If you've ever gone to Disneyland and the Disney dollars, like you can use Disney dollars, but the thing is you can only use it in Disneyland. Ours, crypto, you can use anywhere. Just imagine like when you get a credit card for like Home Depot, it's a very specific credit card, but you can use it anywhere, right? You just get incentivized when you use it at that store that credit card came from. That's what tokenization is like. If you use the tokens in our community, you'll be incentivized with discounts from all the storefronts that are there. However, the public can use it. It also increases in value. It pays dividends. There's so many added benefits for it.
Well, one of the it's very exciting, and one of the aspects I loved is so my viewers know that community service is a core value of mine. I do a lot of community service, and I think it's very important for every community. And I know that you said that if somebody goes and picks up trash in the garden, or that they can get rewards in tokens. Can you tell me
Yes.
more about that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we incentivize in all different ways. So one of the ways that you get incentivized is community service. So let's say you go and work in the community gardens and you're picking up weeds, you're fertilizing, you're watering, whatever that looks like. Yeah, so you can get tokens that way. If you're going around picking up litter, we want to make sure that the kids, they're earning they're earning some, some tokens as well for doing chores, like residential chores, right? Community chores, community service instead of chores. And as well as there's big ways to get money like that. So if you buy a home in our community, let's say you buy a home and you get 1 million tokens. Well, you can use those tokens to offset your expenses or to create
Wow.
wealth. So basically, if you use them, like you have shelter, we have food there. So you use it to pay for your food, your shelter, your energy. Well, you're basically living there for free. And all you need to focus on now is your contribution back to society, which is your business right below you.
That's so exciting. And I'm really excited to be participating in the educational component of this. Can you tell our viewers a little bit more? And I'm going to show the image again so everybody don't get shocked when you can't see us. But tell us a little bit about how things like the senior center fits in and the other public facilities.
Yeah, so smart cities, when you hear the term smart cities, what it basically means is that you can run a home from your phone. And if you think about like your technology, such as like Alexa, Ning, Ring, we have all of that stuff, as well as it's a community Wi-Fi. So we provide wherever we go, we're providing free Wi-Fi for the community and anybody that wants to come in. We have collaborative workspaces. We have a maker space where you can actually go and utilize tools like a 3D printer, welders, things like that. We also incorporate our senior citizens, and we have what's called a grandparents corner, where when the kids get out of school, they can actually go and hang out with the people that actually know what's going on in the world and know how to do things, and maybe even learn how to go fix a car in the automotive shop in the maker space. So we really believe that this vast untapped knowledge is in our seniors, and that they are wanting to provide that. And a lot of families, at least in the States, are single parent families or working parent families. And so incorporating that whole theme of it takes a village, this is how we do it. We bring in our seniors. We also have education on site, as well as daycare services. And our education is experiential. So it's a little bit opposing to the current system, the linear system of, teaching somebody how to make somebody else rich. We are actually growing entrepreneurs in our educational system.
Exciting.
Yes. So, it'll be like, okay, you want to learn geometry? Okay, great. Today we're going to go into a pool hall. You're going to go shoot billiards and you're going to learn about angles. There's 200 businesses. Let's go count their inventory to learn how to count, stuff like that.
Very practical application of these knowledges. And I was just, I didn't know this would ever be a statement that I would say, but I was just live on the radio in Pakistan talking about active learning. And, I really think it's a professor's or a teacher's identity that forces them to lecture. But we know that lecturing is not effective. Nobody sits in a chair and listens like this for 8 hours. They're not listening. So stop lecturing. And there's a great book that I read in one of my degrees, and it's about different types of knowledges. And the book's name will come to me, but it's relevant here in that in certain communities, children are read to at night. And I've certainly made my children victims of that, if nothing else. And so, they're read to at night. And so they know these skills we call literacy. In other communities where they're not read to, when they drive around the city, they read prices. They read the price tags of like gasoline, and they find out where is gasoline the cheapest. Or, they learn to read these signs in their community to know how they can financially best navigate their city. Both of them are valid forms of literacy, ways of learning is what it's called. And what you're talking about is a vital method of learning. How can I use math to make my life better? And so I noticed your focus on renewable resources and STEM education.
Absolutely.
do you have any last words about your smart cities? What's next? I know that, oh, I know. My next question is, what kind of challenges are you having with developing these smart cities?
So, oh, thank you for setting this question up. So this is important for me to share with people because I feel like, you look and you hear about where I'm at or what I've done in the past, and you might think, oh, she's got it handled, made. So first of all, an entrepreneurial life is a roller coaster for one thing. So that is truly when you choose an entrepreneurial life, you are probably most likely the black sheep in your family. People don't understand. Your parents probably certainly don't understand. They're like, why can't you just get a job? People don't they can't explain what you do. It doesn't fit into the norm, the box of I go somewhere from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. I can't even tell you what day of the week it is right now. I don't know about holidays. I mean, I'm working all the time in these companies and these businesses because they're my passions. And one of the challenges that I ran into recently is that we ran into a trademark issue. We did not do our trademark correctly the first time. And even though we've been existing and in business and nobody technically has our name, we still have a trademark issue. And 8 days before launch of all of our marketing, our branding and everything, with everything done, we are having to choose a new name and rebrand, which means we have to redo everything, every contract we've ever had, go back to all our partners with all our interviews and update them with all the new information. So just imagine basically restarting all over, and 14 months of work kind of down the drain, and over $100,000 in cost and fees just whoop, out the window, and legal fees, all that stuff. So yeah, it's and I've been in business for 30 years, so I know better. And even knowing better, sometimes, things happen. So I'm very fortunate that what got me through that is, because that just happened, is that mindset. It's always comes down to mindset. I mean, I will take somebody who's hungry over somebody that's got resources or anything else, because the one that's hungry, the one that truly believes, which I do, is that the world works for me and everything happens for me. And so I knew right away, I'm like, okay, this is painful, this hurts, and if not this, something better. So here I go. And
Wow.
I'm actually really excited. Like, I loved our last name, and I'm actually really excited about our new name and the direction it's taking us for the marketing and branding of this new one.
And I'll look forward to hearing about what the hopefully final name for
Yes,
your smart
yes.
city is. And can you tell us a little bit about the target market for your residents?
Yeah, so for our residents, we are target marketing entrepreneurs and small businesses. In the last recession of the United States, during like the 2008-ish recession, what got us through that was small businesses. It wasn't the big corporations. And so it's always working at source. So if you make sure that the small businesses and the entrepreneurs are okay, and that the salt of the earth, basically, right? The foundation of, at least for America, the foundation people are okay, then everything writes itself. So that's who we target for our homes that are for sale. And our rentals, those are fun things, right? Those are rentals. They don't have storm fronts. So those are probably going to be really attractive to the millennials and to the future generation that can't get affordable living and they want to live in a cool place that has everything.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm really excited. And so the first one is in the Phoenix metro area, right?
Yes.
What are some other places that you think your smart cities will be of added value? Like, are you going to go to New York City or different kinds of places?
We will. There's some other cities that we want to make an impact before we hit something like New York. So, for instance, Seattle, LA, San Francisco. These are places that are in dire need of sustainable and affordable housing, especially in Seattle and LA. Those three areas, you have three, sometimes four generations living in one household, as well as in California. In those areas, they have tremendous loss of real estate due to fires. And shipping containers, they last 100 years. They're weatherproof, earthquake, tornadoes, hurricanes, as they're fireproof.
Wow. Well, and you can see in the image that you have, it's easy to see the the structure, the building blocks, so to speak, of it. And what about I'm thinking of places like the DR Congo where countries
Absolutely.
have little infrastructure. What's the benefit of your smart city in developing countries?
So it's interesting that you mentioned the DR, so Congo, because they've actually already contacted us and wanted our city, they wanted the pilot project there. And we wanted to make sure that we worked out the kinks in the States while we had, a lot of options to work out things. Like we don't have to be on the grid, but we will be on the grid to make sure for points of failure and also in case we want to ever sell back energy or anything like that. So what we bring when we go into any type of country, specifically third world countries, is that we provide food, we provide education, and we provide technology. So we are a community Wi-Fi center. We come in and we collaborate with a lot of nonprofits. So we'll be greening the surrounding communities. So when we come in with organizations that plant trees, that teach people, again, especially in, I'll say Africa, a lot of great intentions going in for the aid of aiding people in Africa. However, that's enabled them to the point to where they no longer know how to even farm anymore to produce food for themselves. So that's
And
something we bring back to them.
that's really exciting. And so, I mean, I'm saying it in a neutral tone because I can't be so excited all the time. Oh my God, I'm so excited. But I really am excited. So how are people in the DR Congo or other countries where people actually have no money? How are they going to be able to live in your city?
So that's a great thing. So we get to bring financing to them because of our tokenization method. We actually can finance and fund just like you would in the States, how you get a mortgage. We can offer the same thing. And that's through the tokenization. So that's one of the things that makes us unique outside of all the other smart cities that are going on is that A, we're on the blockchain, so everything's transparent. And B, we have the tokenization. We have our own economic model that allows us to do that.
Wow. And one of the aspects I'm thinking of is water. How a lot of these places have a lot of difficulty. Well, yeah, internet access is like a racket in these countries. They have to pay so much that most people can't even afford internet access. So that's very exciting. But also water. How are you going to deal with water?
Yes. So we work with companies. So they've renamed their name, but they used to be called Zero Mass Water. They're now called Source. But we work with companies that actually, with technologies, we'll say that. We work with technologies that actually produce water from thin air. So utilizing solar, they can actually produce water. So that's one of the technologies we work with. We also come in, we are also a closed loop circle system. So what that means is we do 4 layers of water reclamation so we can reuse our water 4 times in our own cities.
It's so opposite of some of the places that you're live in right now. And like earlier, I was talking to somebody who in a country where raw sewage is poured into the ocean.
Yes.
And the government isn't concerned with stopping that. And I'm just so like, and I want to say again, I say this all often, but in the DR Congo, for example, the president makes $600,000 a month, and he's not embarrassed that there aren't roads and there isn't water. Like how are you going to enter this type of country in terms of dealing with the local bureaucracies?
Yeah, this is fantastic. So this is another reason why we started in the States, right? a little bit of a different type of commercialized system to work with, right? So we wanted to get our feet under the ground, get a templated system, and make sure we work out the kinks before we start to deal with all of the things that you just mentioned. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to state that what we're doing is inserting a new conversation, that it is way more financially lucrative, way more financially lucrative to do business in this manner of sustainability and collaboration. And it directly results in the stewardship of each other and of the planet. So when you come at governments, companies, industries like the oil industry, and you tell them that they're bad and wrong and what they're doing wrong, I mean, all those things you listed, right? Like that's wrong, right? Like anybody would be like, that's wrong. That shouldn't be, right? When you come at people like that, so we'll take the oil industry, for example, which I love this industry because wait till you see when I get this conversation to them, wait till you see how they're going to just transform before your eyes. So the oil industry has been touted as being some of the most criminal minds behind some of the global climate atrocities that we're dealing with right now. So if you go to a CEO and you tell them they need to stop doing something, or a president needs to stop doing anything like that, well, we have, as CEOs, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our shareholders and to our board. I mean, we could go to prison for not doing, being fiduciary responsible to that. So you can't go to somebody and tell them that what's making them money they need to stop doing. That doesn't work. And it's only, and like appealing to somebody's heart for better luck of for better use of a better word there,
not to do something.
Right. So, but what if you just told them, what if I walked up to an oil company and been like, how about I take your flimsy 600 billion in profits and I make it into 3 trillion in a matter of months? Would that interest you? I'm not going to lead with, it's going to save the planet, green it, because I already know it's going to result in that, what I'm going to tell them. So you just give people a better way. And that's how you deal with all the stuff that you just mentioned about in the DR and other countries. If you go to somebody and say, okay, well, we could do it that way, and you're going to get what you're used to. How about we do it this way? And you get way more.
Yeah, that's incentive. That is surely incentive. So I could talk about your smart cities all day, but we're reaching the end of the point where listeners will run away. And I want to show the image of your city one more time. And I'm wondering if you have any last comments.
Sure. So I would love for people that are, post-COVID, we're getting there. We're almost there. This has been a global reset. This has been a wake-up call. A lot of you have had this voice, this calling in your heart that you've been pushing down. You've been justifying it with, well, I have a mortgage, I have kids, I'm married. I just beseech you to just reach in your heart and listen to it and figure out what those dreams are and just take one step in that direction, and then reach over to your right and left and help somebody else out. And live in abundance. The more that we help each other, the more that we all elevate together. And I really hope that you see that this smart city is a legacy project that we are building and templates for how cities can be built going out into the future, into space. I mean, if you look at any sci-fi movie, they have cargo and shipping containers. That's what they use in all the sci-fi movies. So I really hope that you find in this a piece of you and your dreams and your hope, and know that it's absolutely possible. And anything that you're feeling or doing, this is what you have control over, and it's your most important asset. So grow it any way that you can.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your amazing wisdom. And I hope you'll come back and give us an update on your smart cities, including their name.
Yes, would love to.
Okay. See you soon then. Bye-bye. I'm Dr. Jessica Ash, and you have been listening to an interview with Sophia Olivas about her smart cities and how they're going to be built using the blockchain. Thanks for joining us.